when you're brushing on a finish and you have to get into a corner like this, you want to make sure your brush is loaded. And what I tend to do is I'll take the corner of the brush and I'll get it right down into the corner. And I'll make sure that there's enough product on there, and then I'll start drawing that product away. Now it's going to pool. It's always, if your brush is loaded properly, it's going to start pooling. And you have to keep it moving. Doors, corners are like the hardest thing to brush on. We're getting a little bit of bubble. And then, so that's actually not bad. So we're drawing it away. Bringing it out. Trying to get rid of those bubbles as we go. And this is where having a lot of product on your brush helps, because it allows you to move the product around, and it also doesn't dry as fast, because this stuff, this waterborne finish, dries incredibly fast. Now here comes the fun part. You can't really just stop into a corner. So we'll turn that around, and now we're going to repeat the process a little bit faster this time. We'll get the brush right into the corner, draw it along the edge. See, I'm getting more bubbles now. It means my brush is needing a little bit more product. Okay, and now we have to draw it out and feather off into our other coat. And you have to do this fast before the first coat, or the first part over here, started to dry. You've got to bring the other half into it. And when you feather them off like that, let's see, not enough. I need a little bit more. You can always remove product with your brush, and it's easier to remove product if there's too much on there than to try and move around not enough product. See, I'm feathering them in to one another. This is why I also prefer having a foam brush as opposed to a bristle brush for this. And there we go. So we'll get rid of these bubbles along here, and the bubbles along there. Make sure we're getting finish right into all the corners. That's often what is kind of left behind. And there we go, nicely feathered into one another. And you have to be really light when you lay your brush down in the corners here. You have to be incredibly light so that you don't leave a pool of finish. You're just grabbing that product that's sitting there and feathering it out, so you don't end up with a big blotch of polyurethane. There we go. That's not too bad for a rush job. There's a little bit too much over here. And that's it. And don't overbrush. If you start overbrushing, you're going to start dragging it out, and you're going to end up with deep furrows in your finish. You want to try to avoid that. Now you let that sit until it's fully dry. You cut it back fairly aggressively, because there's always going to be some brush marks, and you're trying to get rid of those. And then from there you reapply, and the second coat's going to go on a lot easier and a lot smoother, and with far fewer bubbles in it. That's all I got.
And for your first coat, do you put on a lot of product?
For the most part, yes. It has to be fairly heavy, because it's a lot of product on your brush, because the wood is going to absorb so much of it. And if you don't have enough product on your brush, you're going to be you're going to overbrush it, and you're going to leave those deeper brush marks. So you do need a fair amount of product on your brush. I mean, obviously you don't want to flood it, but you still need to have enough so that it flows easily.